Welcome to Ancient Stoic Secrets. Here, we don't just talk about dating or attraction, we uncover timeless principles that shape men into their strongest selves. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some men seem unforgettable to women, while others, no matter how much effort they put in, fade into the background? It isn't about looks, money, or even saying the right words. It's about presence. Women don't truly miss men because of what they gave them. They miss the men who left an emotional imprint so strong that it lingers long after they were gone. Think about it. Most advice you hear today tells you to chase harder, text more, or prove yourself until she notices. But the truth? That approach does the opposite. The more you chase, the less she values you. The more you give without restraint, the less she feels your absence. And absence, not constant presence, is what fuels desire. This video isn't about cheap tricks or rehearsed lines. It's about understanding female psychology through the lens of Stoicism: calm, controlled, detached when needed. We'll explore how silence can be more powerful than words, why independence is magnetic, and why the man who can walk away often becomes the man she can never forget. So stay with me. By the end of this journey, you'll see attraction differently. You'll see that it isn't about being good enough for her, it's about being grounded enough in yourself that she can help but notice. This is the Stoic path, and once you embrace it, everything changes. 1. Stop chasing, start leading. Every man has felt that impulse. You meet a woman, you're drawn to her, and your first instinct is to chase. You text more, call more, show up more, thinking that persistence will prove your worth. But here's the paradox: what feels logical to you feels suffocating to her. The harder you chase, the faster she pulls away. Why? Because chasing flips the balance of power. Instead of her being fortunate to have your attention, you become the one auditioning for hers. And no one longs for something they already have too much of. Desire is fueled by scarcity, not abundance. Think of it this way. Imagine receiving your favorite gourmet dish delivered free to your door every day. At first, it excites you, but after a while, the novelty fades. You don't crave it anymore because it's always there. The same principle applies to attraction. If you're constantly available, texting, calling, bending over backwards, she never has to wonder if she'll hear from you. And when there's no wondering, there's no missing. But it's deeper than that. Chasing communicates insecurity. It reveals that you don't believe in your own value, that you're trying to compensate with effort. And insecurity suffocates attraction faster than anything else. Women are drawn not to the man who begs, but to the man who calmly stands in his worth. The man who says, without words, I know what I bring to the table, and I don't need to prove it. That kind of energy is magnetic. The Stoics remind us, he who needs nothing commands everything. When you stop chasing, you stop signaling neediness. You start creating space for curiosity to grow. And in that silence, she begins to wonder, where did he go? Who is he with? What is he doing? That wondering is the seed of attraction. So remember, attraction doesn't grow in the noise of desperate pursuit. It grows in the quiet confidence of a man who leads by standing still. 2. The power of silence. Most men make the same mistake. They think constant communication builds connection. They send a good morning text, check in throughout the day, and close with a good night message, hoping she'll feel cared for and eventually reciprocate. But here's the problem: when your words never stop, they lose their weight. Attention that's always available becomes ordinary. What makes it powerful is its rarity. And this is where silence becomes your greatest ally. Silence creates space. Space creates curiosity. And curiosity is the engine of attraction. Think about the last time someone went quiet on you. Didn't you find yourself checking your phone more often? Replaying old conversations in your head, wondering what they were doing? That pause carried more emotional weight than 100 casual texts. Silence draws people in, because it forces them to fill the gaps with their own imagination. A Stoic man doesn't fear silence, he embraces it. He knows his life is full, his mission clear, and his identity intact without constant validation. When he steps back, he doesn't do it to manipulate. He does it because his world doesn't revolve around someone else's replies, and that independence radiates strength. It says, I am complete on my own. Your response is welcome, but not necessary for my worth. This is not about ignoring her out of immaturity. It's about balance. It's about understanding that mystery often speaks louder than words. When you're silent, she begins to wonder. And wondering is far more powerful than chasing. Your silence makes her lean forward. It makes her notice. It makes her crave your presence again. Think of silence not as emptiness, but as presence, not as weakness, but as strength. Sometimes the most magnetic thing you can say is nothing at all. The discipline to hold back words until they matter, that is what separates the forgettable from the unforgettable. So ask yourself, are you filling space with noise, or are you creating space for desire to grow? 3. Stop being too available. One of the most common mistakes men make is thinking that being always available will win a woman's heart. You might recognize yourself in this: canceling plans with friends in case she calls. replying to every text instantly, dropping everything the moment she wants your attention. On the surface, this looks like loyalty. In reality, it makes you predictable, ordinary, and easy to take for granted. The truth is simple. When something is too easy to obtain, it loses its value. This isn't just dating, it's human nature. Think about the last time you worked hard for something, a promotion, a marathon, or even saving for that car you always wanted. The difficulty made the reward meaningful. Now think of a time something was handed to you without effort. It never carried the same weight, did it? Attraction works the same way. When you're always available, you strip away the challenge. There's no spark, no thrill, no mystery. Stoicism teaches us the discipline of living with purpose. A Stoic man has his own mission, his own passions, his own life outside of her. He doesn't exist to orbit around another person's mood or schedule. When he says "I'm busy" or "I can't right now," it's not rejection, it's proof that he has priorities beyond seeking validation. And that independence is magnetic. It communicates self-respect, and it forces others to respect your time, too. Paradoxically, when you stop being overly available, she begins to notice your absence. She wonders what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're not reaching out. That wondering plants the seed of desire. A man who values his own life becomes valuable in hers. So ask yourself, are you giving away your presence so cheaply that it's lost its worth? Or are you living in a way that makes your presence something rare, something to be appreciated? Remember, availability without limits kills attraction. Space creates value. And a man with his own life will always be unforgettable. For mystery beats total honesty. We grow up hearing that honesty is the best policy. And in long-term relationships, that's true. But here's the uncomfortable reality most men never hear. Too much honesty too soon kills attraction. Many men believe that laying every card on the table, sharing every thought, every plan, every feeling will build trust. But what it really does is strip away mystery. And without mystery, there's no curiosity. Without curiosity, there's no attraction. Think about your favorite movie or novel. What makes it unforgettable isn't that the ending is revealed in the first 5 minutes. It's the suspense, the tension, the unknown that keeps you hooked. If everything is explained right away, the journey falls flat. Women experience the same dynamic with men. If you reveal everything, your feelings, your schedule, your inner world, there's nothing left for her to wonder about. And wondering is what keeps her emotionally invested. A Stoic man understands the power of restraint. He doesn't overexpand, and he doesn't feel the need to broadcast every detail of his life to earn approval. He knows that holding something back creates intrigue. It doesn't mean being deceptive. It means understanding balance, revealing enough to connect, but not so much that the story ends before it begins. Ask yourself, what draws you more, the open book you can read in one sitting, or the one with pages that invite you to keep turning? Attraction is emotional, not logical. And emotion is stirred by curiosity. When she doesn't fully know what you're about, she fills in the blanks herself. She imagines, she wonders, she leans forward to learn more. That is the true seed of desire. So remember this. Honesty matters, but timing matters more. Too much too early makes you ordinary. A measured dose of mystery makes you unforgettable. By holding something back, you shift from predictable to magnetic. You become the story she keeps replaying in her mind. The question she can't quite answer. The man she can't easily forget. 5. Never compete for her attention. One of the easiest traps for men to fall into is competing for a woman's attention. Maybe you've done it before. You see her post a picture online and rush to comment first. Or you notice other men circling around her and suddenly feel the need to outshine them. You tell louder jokes, make bigger gestures, and try to prove you're different. But here's the harsh reality. The moment you compete, you've already lost. Why? Because competing places her above you. It signals desperation, and desperation is the fastest poison to attraction. A Stoic man understands his worth is not measured by comparison. He doesn't waste energy worrying about who else texts her, who likes her photos, or who's trying to win her over. He knows his presence is enough. He knows his value stands on its own, and if she fails to recognize it, that's not his loss, it's hers. This shift in mindset is powerful. When you stop elevating women onto pedestals and start standing firmly in your own self-respect, everything changes. Ask yourself, do kings compete for the attention of their subjects, or do subjects compete for the attention of kings? When you scramble for approval, you put yourself in the role of a contestant. But when you live as if you are the standard, you set the rules of the game. You are no longer chasing her validation. She is working to earn yours. The truth is, women respect the man who doesn't need to compete. He radiates calm certainty, the quiet strength of someone who knows his worth. And that strength lingers in her mind long after the noisy competitors fade away. So remember, the man who never competes, the man who refuses to beg, becomes unforgettable not because he fought harder, but because he never fought at all. 6. Confidence is more addictive than love. Here's a truth most men want to face. Women are not drawn to love. First, they redrawn to confidence. You can shower a woman with affection, send long heartfelt messages, even sacrifice for her. But if you lack confidence, she won't feel that spark. Instead of devotion, she senses dependency. And dependency doesn't attract, it repels. Confidence, on the other hand, is magnetic. Real confidence is not arrogance, not bragging, not pretending to be better than others. True confidence is calm. It's in the way you stand, the steadiness of your voice, the quiet certainty in your eyes. It's the ability to make decisions without hesitation, to remain grounded when others panic, and to walk away when respect is no longer given. That kind of strength cannot be faked. It's unforgettable. Think back to times when you've seen a woman choose a man who wasn't the richest, the most handsome, or even the most charming. Yet, he carried himself with unshakable self-belief. That choice wasn't an accident. Women are wired to respond to confidence because it signals safety, strength, and leadership. These are qualities far more powerful than affection alone. Love can make her smile, but confidence makes her crave you. Stoicism reminds us that confidence comes from within, from mastering yourself, not controlling others. It is assurance without noise. It is being whole without external validation. When you embody this, you don't need to tell her you're valuable, she feels it. And long after you've left the room, your presence lingers in her thoughts. So here's the challenge. Stop believing love alone will keep her attention. Love without confidence turns into attachment, and attachment becomes neediness. But confidence with or without love is power. It's the invisible quality that keeps her awake at night, replaying every detail about you. That's why confidence, more than love, is what makes you unforgettable. 7. Make her feel she could lose you. Human nature is simple. We only truly value what we believe we could lose. And this principle is just as true in attraction as it is in life. Many men sabotage themselves by cementing their presence as permanent. They become predictable, always there, always ready, endlessly devoted, even when she hasn't earned it. And when she knows you'll never leave, there's no urgency to appreciate you. Why chase something that feels guaranteed? But everything changes when she senses your focus shifting. When your attention is no longer a constant, doubt creeps in. She begins to wonder, what if he's moving on? What if another woman now has his attention? What if I've already lost him? That fear awakens desire in a way constant presence never could. It's not about playing games or pretending to walk away. It's about genuinely living a life that doesn't revolve around her validation. A Stoic man knows his worth. He knows that his path, his purpose, and his peace do not depend on anyone else. And that self-respect is what makes his presence heavy and his absence louder than words. Imagine this: a man who never sets boundaries quickly becomes invisible. But a man who can step back, who allows silence to do the talking, becomes unforgettable. So ask yourself, are you giving so much that she takes you for granted? Or are you strong enough to create space and let her feel the weight of your absence? The man who never risks being lost is never truly valued. But the man who respects himself enough to step away, even slightly, becomes the man she can't stop thinking about. 8. The discipline of self-respect. If there's one foundation that holds everything together, it's self-respect. Without it, attraction crumbles. Without it, you become a background character in her life instead of the man she remembers. Too many men give away their energy, their time, even their dignity, in the hope of winning affection. But here's the truth. If you don't respect yourself, no one else will. Self-respect begins with boundaries. A Stoic man doesn't tolerate disrespect. He doesn't keep giving when it's not reciprocated. He doesn't sacrifice his identity for temporary approval. Instead, he lives by principle. His time is valuable, his energy is guarded, and his presence is earned, not handed out like loose change. And because he values himself, others are compelled to value him too. Think of someone in your own life who demanded respect without ever raising their voice. Maybe it was a mentor, a teacher, or even a quiet leader you admired. They didn't need to beg for recognition. Their very standards made people rise to meet them. That's what self-respect looks like in action. It elevates not just you, but everyone around you. So what does this mean for relationships? When you respect yourself, you naturally communicate strength. You don't need to say, I'm valuable. Your actions make it undeniable. And paradoxically, that makes you more desirable. Because women are drawn to men who live with integrity, who refuse to lower their standards, and who know they are complete, with or without external validation. Ask yourself today, are you setting the tone for how others treat you? Or are you allowing others to set it for you? The discipline of self-respect is not optional, it's essential. And when you master it, you don't just win attraction, you win freedom. 9. The magnetic force of detachment. There's a paradox at the heart of attraction. The less you need someone, the more they feel drawn to you. Many men believe closeness means constant availability, but closeness without space quickly turns into suffocation. What actually creates desire is detachment, not coldness, not indifference, but the quiet strength of a man who lives a full life beyond validation. Think about people you've met who seemed grounded, unshaken by chaos around them. Maybe it was a leader at work, a calm father figure, or a friend who never overreacted. Their calm presence made others lean in. That is detachment in practice. It is not about pushing people away, it's about being so centered in your own mission that you don't cling to theirs. Stoicism reminds us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Detachment is living by that principle. You don't compromise your values to please. You don't beg for attention. You don't let fear of loss dictate your actions. And ironically, this self-containment makes others crave your presence even more. Because deep down, we are drawn to those who don't need us, but still choose to share their lives with us. So ask yourself, are you living in constant fear of losing her, or are you living in a way that makes her fear losing you? Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop clinging. And the man who can walk away, calmly and without resentment, is the man who becomes unforgettable. The magnetic force of detachment is this: when you no longer chase, you allow attraction to chase you. So let's bring it all together. Attraction isn't about chasing, begging, or proving your worth. It's about living with self-respect, balance, and quiet confidence. It's about knowing when to step back, when to remain silent, when to protect your independence, and when to walk away. Women don't miss the man who was always available. They missed the man who carried himself with presence so strong that even in absence, he lingered in their minds. But here's the most important part. These principles aren't just about relationships. They're about becoming a man who leads his own life. A man whose energy commands respect in his career, his friendships, and his purpose. A man who doesn't measure his worth by who notices him, but by how he chooses to live every day. That's the Stoic path. And when you walk it, you don't just attract others, you inspire them. Now, I want to turn this back to you. Have you ever caught yourself chasing too hard? Or maybe you've seen how silence or detachment pulled someone closer to you without effort. Share your story in the comments. I read them personally, and I'd love to hear your perspective. And if this message resonated with you, don't let it stop here. Join our community by subscribing to Ancient Stoic Secrets. Hit that notification bell so you never miss what's next, because in the upcoming videos, we'll dive even deeper into how Stoicism can transform not just your relationships, but your entire life. Remember, true power comes not from needing, but from becoming. Stand firm, live with purpose, and let your presence speak louder than words.